You are listening to LOA Recon with the Good Vibe coach Jeanette Ma, where we dissect the ins and outs and the art and science of conscious creation, all intended to amp up your manifesting game. Let's have some fun together. All right, I didn't think she could do it. My cat decided she wanted to sit on my lap. All the dogs and cats got kind of mad. We're having a totally peaceful, quiet afternoon, and I decided to play, in honor of our topic today, The Clash's Should I Stay or Should I Go? I love that song, and it deserves to be played at full volume. Anyway, the cats and dogs not too impressed. And this one cat, she gets up from her nap and decides she wants to come lay in my lap. I'm like, girlfriend, there's no room here, because I got to be right by the microphone. I mean, I'm all scooted up towards the desk. I can't scoot back. There's no room for you. No, she found room. So, yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about today, is making decisions the LOA way and things to remember when it's time to decide. I've got a couple of tips to share with you from my own personal experience and struggles with this subject. And I refuse for my astrology to dictate my story about myself, but as a Libra sun, I have to say that stereotype of Libras being indecisive has it has played out for me in some ways. But I'm getting a really good handle on it based on practicing many of the tips I'm going to share here today. But you don't have to be a Libra to feel the challenge or the angst when it's time to make a big decision. Like when you're trying to decide whether to quit a job and start your business, or maybe deciding whether to move across the country or not, or making an investment decision whether to spend the money on this thing or not, or to move forward in a relationship or not, follow the doctor's recommendation or not. There are a lot of opportunities for us to not be really clear about what our best move is. And frankly, knowing our own hearts can be even harder when those close to us have strong opinions about what we should do. And sometimes what they're expressing to us aren't exactly opinions as much as they are instructions. And that can just muddy the waters even more, right? When we care what other people think. But here's the thing. You know what? They don't know what's best for you. They can't, right? We just don't have that kind of inside info on each other's true desires and life intentions and overall plan, let alone inner guidance, right? I mean, that's worth remembering whenever someone else's input is making it harder for you to decide. So I just wanted to mention that. We want to put anyone else's ideas out of the equation, although one of my tips does include other people. But let me start off with an example. One of my biggest decisions. I was not sure whether to answer the call. In my heart, I heard a call towards coaching. It was just like this persistent longing that kept calling me. But I resisted it. I resisted it like I was going for a gold medal in the sport of resistance. It was crazy how I tortured myself. I mean, looking back on it, it seems crazy. At the time, it felt crazy to even be considering quitting my job, which, based on, my definition of success at the time, I have a different definition now. But the definition back then, which was pretty much in alignment with everyone else's definition, I had a tremendously successful career. I was miserable, so it doesn't fit my definition these days. But man, I had a ton of good reasons why it would be crazy for me to quit that job and to start a coaching practice. Like all the time and money I'd invested in my career and the success that I had built there. I got success in air quotes. And the chances of failing, right, at my own business, and the financial risk involved in that, not to mention the permanent damage to my career to make this move. I mean, I had a long list of reasons why this is not a thing to take seriously. But man, it just kept calling me. And you know what? That happens a lot, right? When what makes sense and what our hearts want aren't the same thing. Our logical brains, they like to chime in thinking that they know what's best for us. And the truth is that is not actually how we want to live our lives. So let's talk about what to do when you're feeling conflicting pulls about whatever your life situation is. Let's try and sort this out. The first thing I wanted to suggest here was buy yourself some time if you can, right? Like if you don't have to decide right now in this red hot moment, then just decide to put it off until you have more clarity. I love the way Esther says this. Esther Hicks says, you know what? I don't have to think about this right now. That's worth giving yourself permission to opt out of that routine we do where we torture ourselves trying to decide, looking at it this way and that way and trying to weigh the pros and the cons. You know what? Give yourself permission not to have to think about it right now if you don't have to. Sometimes you do really have to decide in a red hot moment. But if you don't, buy yourself a little time. If you can put off the decision, let's do that with a peaceful heart, right? Like, don't keep stressing or analyzing or ruminating on it. Like, just decide, all right, I'm not going to think about that right now, and then let it go. And practice feeling peace with letting it go and with not knowing. I mean, that can be a really beautiful space, where anything could still happen. You've still got plenty of possibilities. I mean, there's a beautiful thing about that time that doesn't have to be stressful if you choose to experience it differently. So that's one tip. But my second tip, this is my favorite one. And I learned this from Abraham. And that's that you don't want to make a decision from the vibration of the question or the problem, right? You want to activate the energy of the solution or whatever your happy ending feels like first. And even if you don't know the details of what your happy ending looks like, you know how it feels, right? There's peace. There's probably enjoyment or happiness, right? Success. I mean, it at a high level enough to know that feels very different from the vibration or the energy of the problem, So the reason I'm suggesting this is when you make a decision from the vibration of the problem or the question, you very likely get a different answer than when you're choosing from the place of the solution or your happy ending. But you know what? Even if it's not a different result or a different decision that you make, those two things have very different energy in them. So even if it was the same choice, you're going to get very different results because of the different vibrations. So this is the second tip, and it's my favorite one, and it is, I'm just going to try and sum it up succinctly. Get aligned with what it feels like to have what you want, and make the decision from that place, rather than making the decision from I don't know what I'm going to do. I got to decide here. Time's running out. This is such a pain. Don't decide from that place. And to get yourself aligned to the solution or to the happy ending, it's just a matter of imagining the relief of once you've decided and it's the right decision. Like, practice that feeling. And that's all alignment is. It's just practicing feeling better than the vibration you got going on when you're feeling all angsty about having to make this decision. I personally like the rule of thumb that, I guess this is my third tip. If it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. I like that rule of thumb. And I can't say that I practice it 100%, but I'm getting way better at it. And guess what? The better I get at living that, the better my life gets. So I like that tip. If it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. Again, there might be some occasions where that doesn't really feel like it fits, but on the ones where it is, it sure simplifies things. All right, fourth tip. I like this one. Eliminating fear from the equation. And I was thinking you could do this just by asking yourself, if I weren't afraid of anything, what would I choose? Right? Cool question, don't you think? If fear wasn't playing in here, what would I choose? It's just another way of getting aligned to clarify your best path. But I think that question helps us get there. Like, it can illuminate the situation and reveal where maybe you've got some work to dislodge some fears. I will add, look, if we really truly are afraid of something, it's maybe not the best idea to head in that direction. Like, I don't want to challenge my vibration by going for it when I have this strong fear around something. So maybe keep that in mind. But I think we can get some clarity and some alignment from just asking, okay, if fear wasn't a factor here, if I wasn't afraid of anything, what would I pick? I really like that question. Okay, fifth tip. I like this one too. You guys have probably practiced this one because we hear this often. It's just flip a coin, Heads, I take the job. Tails, I don't. And as you're flipping the coin, like when it's in the air, notice which one you're hoping for. That's like a tricky way to reveal your true heart's desire, because there's a part of you that knows what's best for you. And all we're trying to do is get past all the crap that's clouding that knowing, right? That flipping the coin trick can do it sometimes. Here's another way to get around that one as well. That's to go see a psychic. I have practiced this one with great success. Oh gosh. I remember my marriage was in trouble and I went to go see a psychic. This story cracks me up. I'm not a person who sees a lot of psychics. I don't know if I can say that. I just saw one last month. Anyway, and she was more of a card reader, like a tarot astrology kind of person. And she was looking at my chart and she was doing my cards and she said, "Oh yeah, this marriage, it's being shaken to the core." It was like this big crazy card. It wasn't a good card. And she flipped another one. She said, "Oh, but yes, there's strong foundations here. The marriage will survive." And it wasn't until she said that I knew I didn't want to be married anymore. I didn't know it before she said that. I really didn't. But as soon as she said, "Oh yes, your marriage will survive," I felt in my stomach like, ugh, my stomach did not feel good. And that's when I knew I didn't want to be married anymore. So flipping a coin, seeing a psychic, just noticing how you respond to that, right? That sort of input can help you know your own true heart. Sixth tip. Ooh, I like this one too. This is a really good thing to practice. Okay, what we're talking about here is just feeling out your different options. And as you consider each option, pay attention to which one feels better, right? So if your options are, the doctor says, "Yes, go have this procedure," and you get a second opinion and someone says, "No, do this thing instead." And of course, your other option might be do nothing. As you feel out each option, pay attention to how it feels in your body, like physically and emotionally, just like my stomach telling me I didn't want to be married. Our body can tell us a lot. And if we just tune in to listen, we get a lot of answers there. But you might not notice it physically as much as you do emotionally. So yeah, just pay attention, immerse yourself in each of your different possibilities, and notice which one feels lighter or freer or more empowering. And if you don't feel a difference, guess what that means? It doesn't matter. That simplifies things too, right? So my seventh tip is, I like this one too. Whatever you decide, let it be the right decision. Abraham's advice to us on that point is just align with it. Doesn't matter what we do. It only matters how we feel. So there's no such thing as, the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do. What we want to pay attention to is whether we're flowing vibrations that serve us or not. The action doesn't matter as much as the vibration, which means there's no such thing as a wrong decision. Again, Abraham says you can't get it wrong and you never get it done. I kind of like remembering that, right? Because it just takes some of the pressure off of thinking this is such a big deal about whatever I'm going to choose here. And for me personally, I might not be clear about, which thing I prefer, but I know one thing for sure, that my happy ending is guaranteed because I know too much about how the system works and I am too good at working it for that to be up in the air. We know that much for sure. I might not know the path I'm going to take to get there, but I know my happiness is guaranteed because I know that how I feel matters and I know how to feel better. In fact, I'm doing it right now just by thinking these thoughts. Look how good I am at this, right? That's how naturally it comes to me. That line of thinking really helps me in just taking the pressure off of whatever decision it is that I'm looking at making. So those are my 7 tips for you. But let's just talk real briefly about what to do when you second guess a decision that you made, that you maybe felt great about when you initially made it, but now you're questioning it. I'm probably not the only one who experiences that, right? Or is it just us Libras? All right. The first thing I want to say about that is that it could just be your gremlins, right? Your lizard brain, your monkey mind messing with you, right? It's when our logical brain questions our inspiration. You just have to choose which you're going to lead with in your life. Conscious creators know that our best move is to get aligned with what we want And that just means feeling good, or at least feeling better, even if it's just a little bit of relief. So find a way to feel good or feel better, and then follow inspiration. That's the heart of conscious creation. And that inspiration, whatever it is that you feel inspired to, that's your inner guidance saying this way, right? It's like neon arrows pointing which direction to go. You can trust that information because that inner guidance knows way more than you do from your limited 3D logical mind perspective. So that's the first thing to remember when you start second guessing a decision. And the second thing is that, you know what? It may be that your desire has changed or that you have new clarity that affects your best path. And the thing to do then is exactly what we did before. Just get aligned with what you want, right? Practice feeling good, even if it means forgetting about it for a while or maybe focusing on the happy outcome you want. Just get aligned first and then trust your guidance, whatever it says. For anyone who's wondering, how do I know what guidance feels like? I actually answer this question a lot with clients, especially the ones who can't tell the difference between gremlins and guidance. Here's my advice on that. I'll keep this short and sweet. Guidance feels good. It feels light. It feels empowering. It feels expansive and inspiring. It usually comes, I've just got goosebumps even thinking about it. Yeah, and sometimes your body will tell you too, goosebumps. That's one of my signs of alignment. But that guidance, it usually comes in short bursts of good feelings or inner knowings, which is very different than the way our gremlins or that monkey mind likes to roll. That stuff usually feels heavy, like it's kind of clouding our mind instead of clearing our mind. And it can feel contracting and fear-based. And often it just sounds like long, rambling, wordy, head-based explanations. In fact, sometimes you can know the difference between gremlins and guides just by asking, is this from my head or from my heart? If you could tell where it's coming from, that's going to give you a big clue too. So the bottom line on this subject is that I want you to remember this. It doesn't even matter what you do. How do you like that? It only matters how you feel. So what you choose isn't nearly as important as how you feel. That's why the best decision is always the one that you feel best about. Whatever makes it easiest for you to feel good, pick that because it's your feeling that matters most. Pretty cool, huh? Once we know that, it kind of changes the whole game of making a decision. All right, I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for listening and happy manifesting.